Okay, as soon as I was about to look for another video to inspire or motivate me or help me in some way, this girl's video popped up with a similar story to mine. So I switched back to the creator mode to just go live and tell some of my story too. So I am an interior designer, professional interior designer. I've been doing this for way more than 13 years because that's just how it's been. I've been doing this for a very long time. I went to school for it. I have a bachelor's degree, all that. Done plenty of jobs, different kinds. So I worked at 2 firms and a showroom, did some retail, did some sales. And I didn't like working for people. Every time I learned things about the business side, or I calculated how much more I can do if I was on my own, if I did my own thing. It just sounded so much better. I have the belief that I can do better if I'm running my own business, doing my own show. So back in 2019, I had just left a job that I was with for 4 years. It was a firm. It was about an hour drive to there, an hour drive back. So I felt like I was not wasting, but I felt like 10 hours a week, I can do something else with those hours instead of driving. And then at that time, I was looking for other jobs. I was looking for jobs that were in the city, closer to my daughter, closer to home, just not so far of a drive, just like 15, 20 minutes, whatever. So I found a job. This was in 2019. This all was in 2019. I found the job. It was a small firm. I didn't fit in with them. Whatever it was, whatever. And I had about 3 interviews and one like practice workday with them, so that they can see if I was a good fit before they hire me. The salary was much better than the other job, and I went to all these interviews, met the owners, did all this stuff. Then, not even 30 days later, they called me into the conference room to let me go. And when they did that, I was so shocked. I was so devastated. Like, I said, I quit my job because you guys were hiring me. I had 3 interviews, a practice work day. I was doing all this stuff, hiding this from the place I was working at because I was trying to get out of there. And so when I said that, they were like, but you're talented. You're a talented girl. You're going to be fine. I was like, bitch, like, so, I got myself together. I left, and it was whatever. I never tried to reach out to them again. And it was over. So that was 2019. That was in October of 2019. When that happened, I was like, I'm not looking for anything else. I'm not ever saying no to myself like these people said to me. I went on too many interviews. I went on too many interviews where they looked at me, they smiled at me, they liked my portfolio, they liked certain things like that I had on, shoes, like they were complimenting me left and right. And then okay, hold on. And then hate speech. Yeah. And then when so I was like, I'm not doing this again. I'm just going to go on my own. I'm just going to just be on my own. And then I didn't tell my family like this stuff happened right away. And then they came over to my house and I was home and I was kind of looking sad and everything. And I'm an interior designer, by the way, if you're just checking in. And then my sister looked at me and she was like, well, you know what you got to do. You just got to do it. And I was like, yeah, I know what I got to do. And I knew that I had to run my own business. I knew that I had to get my own clients and do my own stuff. So I started putting it out there on Instagram, maybe Facebook, I don't remember. But I started putting it out there on Instagram. I made my business cards. I did all this. I did that. So I started getting clients from Instagram, and this was like 2019 to 2020, right when the pandemic happened. So the pandemic happened, and I was getting clients. So I was kind of like good through the pandemic. I really don't even know how I survived it, because I didn't make like a ton of money that would like, but I made some money. 2020, 2021, I was still on my own. 2022, I had some clients, but I didn't have like a lot of full renovation projects. I was doing a lot of projects that, like in Philly, it seemed like there were mostly stylings, like apartment stylings and stuff like that. So, yeah, that was in Philly. In New York, they were the ones who were hiring me as a 3-story home renovation. I did a 2-story luxury spa in Brooklyn, and yeah, New York was kind of like treating me good. New York showed some love to me, and I had some projects. So the end of 2023 happened. I mean, 2022. 2022, it started slowing down. And I was like, damn, I'm gonna have to get a job or something. Like, I don't know what else I'm gonna do. I was talking to like people, and I was going on interviews. And this one interview that I went on, this girl, she's a young, like, blonde girl, and she saw my resume and she was like, so this is your own company? And I'm like, yeah, that's what I've been doing like for a while. And then she was like, well, why are you doing interviews? Why not just push for your own business? I'm like, girl, I need to get paid. Like, so I just, but when she's like, that still just stuck to me. She's like, why don't you push? Because her company is thriving. Like, she's done a renovation for Brandon Graham from the Eagles. She has like two offices. One is in like the South, and the other one is up here. But yeah, like stuff like that, I'm just like, yeah, why don't I push for my own business? But I just feel like certain people have certain privileges and all that, but I'm trying to push for it. I really don't know what else I'm doing. So anyway, that was 2022. I was still applying to other places. And so I had got hired. First, I was a substitute. I applied. I was like, okay, I can do this part-time, and then maybe I can meet some people, and maybe I can get like, maybe I can like still work on my business before, like while I'm doing a part-time job as a substitute teacher. And so I had like 2-3 days of that at some high school. And then a closet company called me, and I worked for the closet. They were like, hey, we're hiring. We're doing this interview. I mean, we're doing orientations on whatever day, Monday. And I'm just like, well, I guess I have no time to really think about it. And so I was like, okay, I guess I'll start then. And that was another far job. They told me like, oh, you don't have, anyway, I'm not even going to get into that whole thing. Long story short, I worked for a closet company doing custom closets, beautiful walk-ins, all that stuff for like a while. But that was the salesy position that I did not like. I didn't like any of that. I just like designing. I'm an interior designer. I'm not a salesperson. I have a degree. All those salespeople did not. They were not professional interior designers. They were salespeople that just wanted to do something girly. And I'm not about that. I like to do things for real purposes. Okay. So, so after California Closets, well, sorry, I didn't even put it out there. After I did the closet company, I got a job at another firm, and it said sports architecture. So I'm like, oh, what's this? And then I have a nice Zoom call or Teams meeting with them. I did this interview with 2 people, flew me out to Ohio to get started, flew me down to Tampa, do other things. And then I was there for a long time doing sports architecture and interior design. However, I started noticing that, number one, I'm the only interior designer in the entire firm, and all the architects are getting, and the young ones too, the people who are like still in college, interned and just graduated and all that, they were giving those people the jobs, the interior design work, selecting finishes, doing sketches, doing, like, they were giving everybody else the thing that I wanted to do. And I kept asking for it, and I kept saying, I like doing this. I can do that. I can select all the finishes. I can select furniture. I can do sketches. I can do planning. Like, bring me on to these projects early in the game, and stop bringing me on at the end to finalize some scrappy finishes that other people selected. So, you know, we had these meetings, we had these evaluations year after year, and I was like, okay, it doesn't seem like it's getting through. It's not fulfilling. The money was great. They gave me a really wonderful salary, and I just been saving. And then I started having these strong visions, these clear visions of what it would be like if I left, what it would be like if I went back out there on my own, like how I would do it. I started having this full scope business plan. I started reaching out to people, and people were trying to be helpful for me to get my business started so that I can leave. However, the type of business that I wanted to do, because I wanted to open a spot. So the type of business that I wanted to do, I couldn't find it in time. And it was just too much, and I was just like, okay. And then I also took some, I also was studying for something. And so I was like, all right, it's not the right timing. I'm just going to work on my business, try to grow it, and then I'll start trying to do that again. In the meantime, I couldn't stay there at the job. It just started being really toxic. It was already toxic to me. Some of the people were toxic. Some of their like leaders were toxic. And I just stopped enjoying it. And I didn't want to keep bringing that energy into the workplace that I felt toxic, and I felt like I didn't belong. And so I resigned, And it was just so emotional. It was so emotional because it's not that I didn't like certain people. Like if I was in another state, if I was at the other location, I might have lasted longer. So I left. So now, here I am, like 3-4 months later. I've had one client whom I am grateful for. I've had one client. She's a repeat client. I've known this girl since elementary school, and her husband have an investment property that they're working on, and I provided some construction drawings for them. And they were really loving it. Like, oh wow, this is beautiful. Like, I'm so glad that they liked it, and I wish that I had communicated with them that we can like share this and document this process, and that would have been more helpful to boosting something. Because right now I feel like I'm not pushing enough content, and so I'm doing all these creations, like behind the scenes. Like I'm reading books, I'm doing online marketing on my website. Like I'm not on social media as much. Also, I'm doing a makeover in my own bedroom so that people can see that. And I'm just trying to like do things, and I don't understand like what else I can do to it and when the clients are going to start actually coming in. So, I don't know right now. I need some tips. I need some help. And I'm about to go into the gym, work out, get my brain right, get my mentality right. So, thank y'all for watching. Yeah, I'm going to try to get my business. My business is KPG Interior Design. I will do nationwide services for renovation, styling. I can do virtual. It's kpginteriordesign.com. But yes, thank you for joining in. If you joined in, thank you.